Good evening. Welcome to another night here on 20 Minutes Live. 20-minute live is where conversation around how to develop our space and the need to develop our space would happen every night. And this week, usually we would give the week a theme so as to guide the conversation and our thoughts, right? But eventually, every of the conversation will be leading towards developing our space, how to begin to raise consciousness, national consciousness, towards the need to have our space developed. And this is the responsibility of all, not some few persons, not few or certain people or privileged people. This should be a responsibility, especially once you are now conscious, once you have now realized that a space would have no business with the present state that she is right now. So once you are that conscious, it's your responsibility to also lead the campaign. And that is what I will be doing every 20 minutes, every day, right? To lead the campaign of the conscious. And like my expectation and calculation would suggest that we would only need 10% of conscious minds to be present within our space. 10% of us. Some person may think that 10% is small. No, it is not. 10% of us that are conscious, that are for national development, would be about 20 million people. If you divide 20 million people by 36 states, excluding the federal capital, that would be about 600,000 persons within a state. There is nothing 600,000 cannot get done, whether via ballot or via protest. And that will be my calculation. That will be my expectation and my desired destination. That we need to be conscious. We need to have the interest of our space at heart. Presently, religious bodies put together could boast of over 10% of our population. But that hasn't helped, right? Because that would not mean consciousness, national consciousness. And we need 10% of our population to be at least nationally conscious, right? To begin to lead the new desired space called a nation that works for all. And that will be my expectation. And that is the reason why I'm doing this. Right. So let's continue on the conversation that we started some days ago on developing our space, independence. We are demystifying the concept of independence. Some persons would think independence is our birthday. In fact, I heard it today from someone also. And a whole lot of people, that explains why people would even celebrate independence outside our space, and they will march. I don't know if those people really understand what independence would mean. And I don't know if many of us really understand what independence would mean. But that is what we started some days ago. And independence would not mean birthday. It should not mean the day of birth for a space called Nigeria. Exactly not. And independence would not mean graduation or freedom. So independence is not it's not the same thing with an intern or a learner learning from an institution and graduating after such adventure, such learning process. No, that's not what independence rather would mean to us. So what then is independence? What does it mean to be independent? It therefore means for us to really capture the word independence. I'm just doing a review. This where I have been able to deal with this for the last 2 days, right? Independence would therefore now mean that there was something called slavery, first before you could be independent, because before you could gain back your freedom. And I'm not making this thing up. As far back as secondary school, I was taught in school that we were protectorate. They'll coin it, they'll beautify it. If we hear the word protectorate, you would think it's a beautiful word. No, exactly opposite. Protectorate is not beautiful word. What it simply means is that someone else will come and handle the affairs that belong to your space on your behalf, and not like a delegated law. It's like by compulsion, whether by fire, by force, you have to listen to that party, and you have no say in the affairs that governs you. And that was what exactly happened before we gained independence. So we gained independence. That what would it mean? It will mean that we gain freedom. Freedom for what are the things we will talk about. But yesterday, I started the conversation, which I would also continue this night, on what was taken from us. What was taken from us. And I would say yesterday that education was taken from Africa. We lost access to education, contrary to many opinion that think that education would start to us with colonization or post-colonization. That's not. You need to do studies. That's not true. In Africa, education has been on. There are different. We've been producing engineers. We've been producing medical doctors. We've been producing psychologists. We've been producing professors. We've been producing teachers. We've been producing all manners. Name them. We've been producing all. Yes. Like I would normally correct some people that they should stop saying that they were the first person to graduate in their family. That means their family started from slavery. That's what it means. But for the pre-colonized Africans, they had education, were artists, were creating witty inventions, right? Inventions that till date would still be taken or outside our space, because that was how detailed they were. So we were doing things excellently. But most importantly, they will take us, right? So today we'll just continue from that angle, that what was taken, our integrity and dignity would be taken. If I ask you what is the word of a Nigerian right now, and if you want to be this modest and if you want to be truthful, you will know that it's almost close to nothing. Almost close to nothing. That our worth as a person is almost as useless as anything. Let me give you an instance. A friend of mine told me this. This happened about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. He said he was shocked. A woman was driving and something happened and her car got damaged in the process. She had an accident and she flared up and she was crying on top of her voice for having a damaged car. And my friend was like, from the way she was behaving, that from the way the woman was behaving, he could summarize this whole scenario, and he could conclude that the woman would have preferred to eat him than to have a car damage. And my friend would not be exaggerating. That is the honest truth and honest feedback within my space. The sad reality is that the dignity, the worth, the integrity of a soul of Iman within our space will be almost close to zero. But this was not so before colonization, before we became slaves. We had dignity. There was dignity. And the dignity that we had was not on anything other than the fact that we were Imams. It wasn't on the economic side of life as it has become right now. And you won't blame slaves, right? That because if you understand, that's why I personally would be interested in this conversation, actually, of us understanding independence. Because some of us still don't, right? And we still don't know that we have lost our integrity, we've lost our dignity. That's why some of us are shocked by, let me just divert and say that some person will be shocked and say, why am I not talking about the president's allegations on submitting fake documents to the INEC? I'm not shocked. That's the honest truth. And I will be, even though I feel that some persons who are pushing that narrative might continue if that's what they feel they want to start from or they could do. But I'm not shocked. And my assertion will be that it's not just the president. Can you return your fake passports, your fake visas, your own fake certificates that you worked for? Now, when I mean fake, that within our space, almost everything within our space will be faked. That is why people would excuse being fake as grace. That's why you will hear in my space often, somebody will be telling you, Grace, he has faked something. Something has been faked. Something that cannot be explained has been faked. So I am not shocked but I am also not shocked because I know where it came from. We lost our dignity. Slavery, or what they call maid. If you have seen anyone if you had maid, just study the lifestyle of the maid. Even though a maid is not supposed to be a slave, but check how you treat your maid. Check how people treat maids within our space. Even people who are not even maids. Check how you've been treated at work. Check how you've been treated. Is it not? That should be telling you something. Now imagine if as a space we were treated collectively that way for a number of years. We have lost what is called dignity and integrity. We don't have it. I saw a video recently, and a major newspaper also carried it very recently, of a woman saying, if they did not wear and co, my clothes, my ashwebi, don't serve them. And some persons were shocked in the video. And I was saying that's hypocrisy. But from their talk, they were actually not totally shocked. They were shocked. The only reason they were shocked in a way is because she was holding a mic, right? Me, I wasn't shocked. That's the environment we have. But the sad part of it? The sad part of it is that location is not Nigeria. And that is how we have taken this, our own independent self abroad. We've taken it abroad. So I'm not shocked that we have lost integrity and dignity. That is what would happen if someone is subjected to slavery within their space for a number of years. And this happened for a number of years. So, back to the conversation. So we lost integrity. We lost integrity of our words. You know, the African culture and Nigerian culture were so verbal that agreements will be made verbative. You know, and this still happens. You know, that's why some people will say, "Oh, you should write it down." No, that's not our real culture. Our culture is verbative. You know, I watched a film, Game of Thrones, and the Lannister would say to people that would offer him help only for him to pay back, would say to them that he is a son of a Lannister, that he doesn't owe debt. He always pays debt because he's a son of a Lannister. That is who we were. Africans were dads. Nigerians were dads. We were people you can bank on sealing a deal on our words. Our words was our words. You know, I also saw a movie called The Handshake, and it was about a business deal. A guy seeking a business deal, and then it was about having the last handshake, because handshake would mean that you have gotten the business deal. I think this culture also is still predominant in China too. That was who we were. We had integrity of our words. We don't lie. And if we lie, if at all we lie, the best we would do is that we will lie at the back of the person. We can't lie to people's face. What happened? How did they lose such level of integrity? Slavery within our space. So that was taken. We didn't lose it. It was taken from us. Because remember, a slave is no longer someone who has time of his or her own. Time is no longer his or her own. And if you take time out of any person's hand, that person no longer has a life. And that is exactly what happened to our space. So when we talk of integrity as a space, when we talk of presidents having integrity, then we should, for me, integrity question is not just about the president. It's about the totality of us as Africans. How can someone of Showore present himself, and then people will be other than that? That's wrong. That shows our level of integrity. It shows the level of dignity we placed on ourselves. It shows the level of dignity we place on ourselves. Then how can the idea of the concept of a man take the concept of developing our space? It shows the dignity we've lost, how far we've gone behind, how far we've lost it as people and as a nation. We've lost it. So we need to, when we think of independence, when we think of Nigeria's independence, these are the things we need to have at the back of our mind, so that we would begin to assess independence in the right form we should assess it. Because we lost in dignity, we lost integrity, we lost the capacity to see human being beyond naira and kobo. We lost that. We lost the capacity not to sacrifice humans for materials. Rather, we lost the capacity not to sacrifice, yes, I was right, not to sacrifice humans for materials. Rather, we now have the capacity, and we have even inherited a strange culture of sacrificing humans for materials, that everything will be explained, will be argued for once it has naira and kobo behind it. That's our space. That is the integrity we lost. We lost it. That we cannot treat humans anymore as humans. Treat humans as humans. Education out of it, certificate out of it, money out of it, position out of it. Treat them as humans. We lost it. So, if you want to ask me whether you are independent, so independence should happen, it could happen individually and collectively as a space. Of course, we'll still discuss what we have as independent, what was regained, what do we have to regain. But if you ask me what we should begin to do, is to begin to ask ourselves whether we now have back integrity and dignity. And the way to check it is, look at your relationships within your life. Look at it critically. Look at the gate man. Look at your boss. Look at your chief or madam. Look at your children. Look at these relationships and ask yourself honest question. Do you treat them with integrity as humans? Or you would have to assess the way they look first before you treat them as humans, as counterparts, as countrymen. Do you treat them as that? Have you worked? And if you have not, what are you doing towards that? And as a space, what are you doing towards bringing back our integrity and our dignity? Like I said, for people who have made that cause their cause, to make sure that the first man does not represent us in a bad way, and to get the truth out of that conversation, I would commend what you're doing. But for me, I would say let's look on the large scale, because if we fail to look on the large scale, we would fail to see that the problem that we have as integrity, lack of integrity and dignity within our space is systemic. And it's something that we should have collected back since independence. But we are still short of it. That's why someone would curse people because of ashwebi over food. Food that people will be using before to beg you with. We should ask ourselves whether we are truly independent. But until then, until we begin to answer that question, like I would say, I will withhold my happy independence wish till then. So I hope this night has helped towards us understanding what independence is and what was taken from us in the first place. I must add to this that who were the people who took this from us? The British. England took this from us. Their ancestors did this to us. I can't but laugh out loud and shaking my head when I saw a video of some persons celebrating Nigeria's independence in the UK. How stupid can we be as a space? Let's end here. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity, and uphold our honor and glory. So help me, my ancestor. May the force be with you. See you tomorrow.